Paul Stanley, the iconic frontman of Kiss, a man who for decades captivated millions with his electrifying stage presence and timeless rock anthems. The image most of us have is of the Star Child, his face painted in black and white, a symbol of glam rock's bold and rebellious spirit. But behind the mask, both literal and metaphorical, lies a complex psychological landscape shaped by the pressures of fame, the demands of the industry, and the deep-seated motivations that drove him to the spotlight. In the realm of the Enneagram, Paul Stanley's public persona resonates strongly with the Type 3, the achiever. Driven by the desire to be valued and admired, the achiever archetype often pursues success and recognition with relentless fervor. For Paul, this manifested in his unyielding commitment to Kiss's larger-than-life image. He seemed to chase the spotlight not just as a performer, but as someone deeply invested in the validation and approval that fame provides. Yet what happens when the public persona conflicts with the private self? Herein lies the tension that so many artists face. The reward system of fame often values the mask more than the man. For Paul, the industry machine, with its insatiable hunger for hits, tours, and media appearances, perpetually reinforced the Star Child image, subtly demanding he maintain a role that may not always align with his true self. Paul's formative years were steeped in the dynamics of a family system that, like many, held its own set of pressures and expectations. Growing up in a tumultuous household, he learned early on to wear a mask, one that shielded his vulnerabilities from the world, perhaps even from himself. The music industry, much like his family, became an ecosystem where success required a certain level of emotional armor. Within the group dynamics of Kiss, Paul found both allies and rivals. While bandmate Gene Simmons, with his own strong personality, often acted as a polarizing force, their relationship was a complex dance of collaboration and competition. Their camaraderie on stage belied a sophisticated interplay of ambition and artistic vision that defined the band's trajectory. The public saw a rock god who effortlessly commanded the stage, yet behind the scenes, the pressure to live up to the Star Child persona was immense. The mask became both a tool and a trap, enabling him to project an image of strength and charisma, while also concealing the insecurities and fears that lurk beneath. The constant demand to deliver, to be the face of Kiss's enduring allure, was both a source of energy and an underlying burden. In the lens of dark psychology, the music industry's adoration of the Star Child role created an environment where personal struggles had to be sublimated to maintain public admiration. The label, the studio, the audience all conspired, perhaps unwittingly, to keep Paul in a state of perpetual performance. The praise that came with success was a double-edged sword. It rewarded the external while often neglecting the internal. Yet within this archetypal dance lies a path to growth and shadow integration. The very qualities that make a Type 3 successful can, if unchecked, lead to burnout and disillusionment. For Paul, the journey involved confronting these shadows, recognizing the ways in which the pursuit of external validation could overshadow the quest for authentic self-worth. In this narrative, we see the dual nature of the achiever's gift, the ability to inspire and lead, but also the risk of losing oneself in the pursuit of others' expectations. This tension is a reminder of the universal human experience, of our own masks and the societal roles we inhabit. Where do we, like Paul Stanley, find ourselves caught between who we are and who we feel we must be? Have you ever felt like you had to become a role because people loved the role more than they understood you? If so, what steps do you take to reconcile these parts of yourself? These reflections offer a path to greater self-awareness, encouraging us to examine where our public personas diverge from our private aspirations. As we delve deeper into Paul's journey, we encounter a pivotal moment that often arises for Enneagram Type 3s, the confrontation with their shadow self, the aspects of their identity that have been buried under the weight of external expectations. For Paul, this confrontation likely emerged during times of solitude, away from the blinding lights of fame. The quiet after the show, when the face paint is removed, reveals not just the man behind the mask, but the unresolved anxieties that the public might never see. The shadow of an achiever manifests in the fear of worthlessness. Despite the accolades and the cheering crowds, there remains an inner voice questioning the permanence of such success. What if I am only as good as my last performance? This nagging doubt is common to many high achievers, where each triumph is quickly overshadowed by the pressure to replicate or surpass it. Paul's task, then, was one of reclaiming his self-worth independent of his achievements, a formidable challenge for anyone whose identity has been so closely tied to public acclaim. The journey towards shadow integration for Paul involved recognizing that the star child persona is but one facet of his multifaceted identity. By embracing this complexity, an Enneagram 3 can begin to appreciate their inherent value beyond the accolades. Paul might find solace and strength in his quieter moments, perhaps through songwriting or painting, a pursuit he has famously enjoyed. These creative outlets serve as a bridge between his public and private selves, allowing for expression without the need for external approval. In Jungian terms, this process is akin to befriending the inner trickster, an archetype that challenges the status quo and invites flexibility and humor into the rigid structures of identity. By embracing the trickster, Paul taps into a well of spontaneity and authenticity, shaking loose the constraints of his public persona and allowing for a more genuine expression of self. This recognition of his multifaceted identity can lead to growth, as the achiever begins to prioritize personal satisfaction over public recognition. This journey is not without its detours and setbacks. The cyclical nature of stress and growth for Type 3s often means that progress is followed by moments of regression. In times of stress, an achiever may slip into the behaviors of an unhealthy Type 9, becoming disengaged or complacent, overwhelmed by the very expectations they once thrived upon. Paul, in his moments of doubt, might have found himself withdrawing, retreating into the comfort of routine, or numbing himself to avoid the fear of inadequacy. Yet the path to growth invites a shift towards the healthier qualities of a Type 6, loyalty, cooperation, and a sense of community. By fostering genuine connections with those who see beyond the star child, Paul can cultivate a support system that celebrates his true self, not just his achievements. This network acts as a mirror, reflecting his worth back to him, not through the lens of success, but through the authenticity of shared experiences and mutual understanding. Historically, the music industry is both a crucible and a sanctuary for such transformations. Artists like Paul, who navigate its peaks and valleys, often emerge with a deeper understanding of themselves, if they are willing to confront the shadows cast by their spotlight. The stories of reconciliation, of finding balance between personal desires and public expectations, resonate deeply with anyone who has felt the weight of living up to an idealized image. In our own lives, we can draw parallels to Paul's journey. Whether in our careers, relationships, or personal aspirations, the task remains to harmonize the external with the internal, to allow our dreams to guide us without dictating our self-worth. It is a dance of identities, where each step toward authenticity requires courage and self-compassion. As we continue to unravel the intricate tapestry of Paul's narrative, we are reminded that the journey of self-discovery is as important as the destination itself. It is a reminder that within each of us lies the potential not only to achieve, but to transform, to integrate the many facets of our being into a harmonious whole. This is the essence of the achiever's true gift, not just in the glory of what is achieved, but in the profound understanding of who we become in the process.